Hello everyone, this is Anna from Our Paper Paradise, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make this little sunflower magnet. I am going to start by making the central part of the sunflower, and for that we will need the brown strips. As you can see, they're all fringed, and this is not hard thing to do. You just have a strip of paper, and what I do is I go along that strip with these little scissors and just snip until it's all fringed. You won't have to do that, I've already done it for you, but that's how this works. So we start with one of them. They're all the same, so it doesn't matter which one you pick first. What matters is you will notice there is a slight curve to the fringe, and I usually want to make it so it curves outward, so I'm going to start rolling that away. For that, I just grab my quilling tool and start rolling, and you're going to roll like that. And when you're near the end, you put a little bit of glue on the edge there, and you close that. Boop. I took away the quilling tool because for me it's easier to do the other ones without the quilling tool, but you can keep it in there and just keep rolling on the quilling tool. So once you have the first one down, you're just going to put a little bit of glue where the seam of it is. Going to grab another piece of paper here, and you're going to pay attention to where the curvature goes. Since I want it to curve outside, I'm going to start like that, and I'm just going to roll it. See how I keep these fingers on top and bottom and just roll it otherwise. But you can do this however it is easier for you. Okay, at this point the center is done. We are going to want to help it. See how this one is a little more spread out than this one. We're going to want to help the sides kind of bend outward a little bit. So we're going to put our nail close to the top there and just give it a little push down. See what I'm doing there? Just giving it a little crease there all around, and you don't have to go super crazy with this. It's just a little help for later. Once we have the petals around it, it's easier for us to spread it if it's already a little crimped. Alright, so we have the center done. We are going to start making the petals. You can take the little So for these guys, it's always going to be the same thing, and you're going to use this template for sizing. You grab one strip of paper, and you just put it in the slotted tool, and you start rolling. Now you can roll away from you, which is my preferred method, or you can roll towards you. Whatever is easier for you, just do it. The result will be the same. You want to do these fairly loose, so don't put too much pressure on it as you roll. Just let the strip slide through your fingers, because we want them to open quite a bit. So you can do this for all of them first. We're just gonna curl them, and once this is done, I'll tell you what to do next. Okay, so you should have 20 of these guys. If you notice, the sunflower has 2 layers of petals, and each layer has 10 petals. And there's 2 reasons for me to do all of the curling at once and then proceed to the gluing and then proceed to the shaping of them. First reason is it's a lot faster to do all of the same chore in a row. So it's easier for me to curl all of these because I'm just doing the same motion, than to curl one, stop, measure, glue, shape, and then go to the next one. It's a lot more efficient to do it like a factory assembly. So now that we have all of them curled, oh, the second reason for this is when I do a tighter curl like that, it allows it the time to expand a little more. Sometimes they will not expand no matter how long you wait. So at those points, let me clear this up a little bit so you can actually see. This one is pretty close to the size I want anyway. But if it wasn't, I usually just hold it like this and pull each layer to open it a little more till I'm at the size I want, and then I glue it. But those are pretty good as they are. I'm just gonna start gluing them into this, using this template as a size guide. And how do I do that? I just put the coils on top of the template and I kind of push them around. They will start to shrink gently. You don't want to crimp them before time. So as you can see, they're pretty much the same size. Take it out, keep holding it always. Now I'm holding it on the side, but I'm still holding it, so make sure it doesn't curl again. Put a little bit of glue and then close it. Oops, that didn't have enough time to dry. I think it's the cold makes the glue dry slower. And we continue the same process for all of them. All right, we are done with our coils. The next step is going to be transforming these into the petals. How do we do that? Very easily. We are going to grab one of these guys, and I'm not sure if you can see, but there's the seam of the paper right there, and I usually like to hide these. So in this case, I'm going to hide it on the side that's going to be on the against the center there. For that, I'm going to hold the center of this coil and pull it towards where that seam is. That's going to be the furthest side of those petals. And I'm turning the coil in my hand so that I get, let me move these a little bit aside so you can have a better view. I get a better distribution of the coils in the center, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, so long as they're like a little bit more even than just one in the middle and all the rest bunched up in the edge. All right, once you have this, you're holding the center to this side. You're going to use the other finger to make a teardrop, the other fingers to make a teardrop. So you have a teardrop, but still not like what's there. And how you get that? You just bend it a little bit. There you go. You got one petal done. And we're just going to do the same with all of them. Going to hold the center, pull it towards where the seam is, and roll it a little bit to have a more even distribution. Pinch. You will notice that some of these guys are like bunched up at the edge there, and some of them are popping out a little to the middle. I usually like to take these guys and use them on the bottom layer, because even usually the putting them on the bottom and then gluing the other petals on top will push this back, but even if it doesn't, they will be hidden, so it's always better to put them on the bottom. I'm just picking 10 of the ones that have more of that and leaving the others for the top. So with the rest of them, let's just use them for the top. Since you have to fit 10 around this, and we want them to be stuck to the center there, you want to make sure that they're not too fat, especially if you don't have a corkboard to help you with the positioning, and I'll explain why in a second. But this is better than this. This is a little too fat. This one is a little more squished. And you can always shape them until you have the size that you want. And you can also shape them as you glue them, and you see, oh, I need this one to be a little tighter than it is, so to fit that space there. All right, now that we have all the parts done, we are gonna assemble it. And you can assemble it just by putting this on your table and putting some glue there and going around, alternating these guys, putting some glue on it, gluing it down, putting some glue, gluing it down, and so on. I did that for a long time before I had the corkboard to use. This just makes it a little easier, especially if you are just beginning to do this. How does this work? So you're gonna need your pins, and there's a hole in the middle of this guy where we started to coil. I'm just gonna put a pin through that hole, and I'm gonna put this in the center. You don't need this grid, you just need something plasticky so that the glue does not stick to the corkboard. It could be saran wrap. You can wrap your corkboard in saran wrap and that will work just fine. You can take the bag that comes with your kit and just put it on top, and that will work also. So you take your center, pin it down, and now we're going to start gluing these guys around. There's no rhyme or reason to what goes first or where you start. It's just all about what you feel like doing. And how I do it is I just put glue in a circle. So this part will glue to the center, and then on this, the little glue that I put on the sides will glue to each of the other petals. And once I have the glue, I take a pin, I put this down, make sure it's touching that circle. I take the pin and shove it in there as tight as I can, and then I can still adjust this so it's where I want it to be. And until the glue dries, you can still do a lot of adjusting. Next one, same thing. Hold the glue there, and I'm gonna put it the other way around. So we're gonna alternate how the petals lay there. Another pin. See what I'm doing with the pins is I put it in the center and I push the center against the brown part. And that's why I chose these ones that had the center a little bit off, because by the time we're done, they're going to be pushed to the side anyway. Okay, 2 down. Let's do the rest. And then I'll show you the next step. You will notice that I will do this a lot of times. I will push everything down to make sure everything is leveled. If you don't do this, you will get weird things popping out, and it will be a lot harder to glue the next layer on. Now, once you've done this step, I want you to take a break. Take a 10-minute break, go to the bathroom, get a coffee, and let this dry. It will make your life a lot easier if it's dry when you move to the next step. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, it's been a while. I think the petals are dry. I'm gonna take the outside pins out so I can glue the other petals on there. Notice how I'm putting my finger over the petal itself, so when I pull the pins out, the center of the petal, or yes, the petal, will not come out with the pin if there's any glue or anything for any reason whatsoever. So I hold the petal down and pull the pins. I've learned this the hard way, so take my wisdom. Okay, now we're just going to repeat this with the top petals. These guys, however, I'm going to put glue not just on the side, but on the bottom part too, so it's glued to the top of these guys. And we're going to place them in between the other petals so they're offset a little. You grab a pin, you put it in the center there, push the center all the way back, and there you go. 1 down, 9 to go. Push it all down to make sure it's all level. Make sure these glue to the bottom layer. And then take another 10-minute break. Make sure it is all dry before we move to the next step. Alright, it should be all dry now, so we're going to do the same thing. Put our fingers down, pull the pins out. Go ahead and pull the center one too. Be careful with that one too, because I've had it pull out the whole center of this little guy, and that's not a fun thing to have happened. All right, now that it's all dry, we are going to glue the back. And for that, we're just taking this little circle, putting some glue there. Doesn't have to be super centered or precise, you just have to put it there. This is going to help solidify the whole thing, and then we'll have a spot to glue our magnet. I'm pushing this down as it glues, so make sure everything's leveled again, and just to make sure the glue goes in there. Now we can do a little more shaping of this. We can push it outwards a little more. You don't have to be super rough with it. Don't want to break anything. And just gently going around and pushing it out. Opening the flower a little more. And now the fun glue. I'm going to take the magnet. We're going to grab our E6000 glue. And we're going to put a layer of it on the magnet. Doesn't have to be a very thick layer, just make sure it covers the surface there. Do this in a ventilated area because this glue is pretty stinky. And then you just pop it up. You can see the center of the flower there. Just pop it on top of that and let it dry. I would say we'll leave it for about 30 minutes before you do anything with it. If you want to spray some Krylon on it, you can do that. It helps protect the paper so the colors last longer. If you want to put some Mod Podge on it, you can do that too. But other than that, there you have it. That's the sunflower tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, like this video. See you next time.